Welcome everybody to the Slingshot stand-up paddleboard unboxing and preparation. You're going to find a stand-up paddleboard in a bag in the box. You're going to find a pump. You're going to find a paddle. You're going to find the manufacturer's opinion on how it goes together. And you're going to find a little repair kit. Hopefully you won't need that. Leave the paddle for a moment here. There's a couple of tricks with the paddle. Going to open up the pump. One of the things you're going to notice with the pump, there's a couple little special things with the pump, is that the pump has a little plug here. This makes the pump a double action or a single action. You want it to be double action for the first, say, 8 or 10 psi of inflating the board. And so you basically just insert that and give it a quarter turn there. And once you get the pump up to a little bit higher pressure, that's when you want to take the plug out, and it'll go to single action. It'll be a little bit easier to pump. I'm going to put it in because we're going to pump it up. So on this gauge, you can see that it starts in yellow at around 7 psi. So you'll put a fair bit of air and the board will appear to be fairly hard even before the needle is moved up to 7 psi. You have to keep putting air into it. You want to go all the way to at least about 15 psi, and you can go right through to 18 psi, so the needle on the gauge will be pretty much at the top of the gauge. There's a screw fitting that you want to put on the pump first. It's pretty easy. And get rid of this elastic here. Put that in your pocket. Somewhere else. And here's the fitting for the board. So that should get you ready to pump the board up. And next thing to do is take the board out. So we'll undo the bag here. Pull this very nice aqua looking board out. Comes in a nice protective bag. Very good protective bag. There we go. And we'll undo that strap there. It's a lot easier to pump a stand-up paddleboard when it is on level ground. I'm going to unroll that. Lots of nice protective stuff. Keep it safe while it's traveling. The nose of the board is where you want to pump it up from. So you want to remove the gray plug. It looks like that. And you're going to notice a button that you can push in and it will stay in. Push it again and it will stay out. So when it's in, the paddleboard will deflate by itself. And when it's out, it's prevented from deflating. So when we want to inflate it, we want that valve to be out, that button to be out, and that allows us to put air in it and take the pump on and off without losing any air from the SUP. So we do a quarter turn connection there. And we are in the, we've got the plug on the back of the pump here. And now you have some fun pumping the paddleboard up. Takes about 15 minutes to pump. First little while goes easy. First little part of the pumping goes really easily, and then it gets harder. Whoops. And it's good to put a little pre-tension twist on that. Ten PSI, I think it is. Now I'm gonna remove the single action, double action plug. That's gonna make it pump a little more slowly, but it's a little more easy. Uh, 15 PSI right now. Just give it a couple more little pumps. And my experience with this board is that at around 15 PSI, it performs really well in the water. You can go all the way to 18 PSI, and if you're doing yoga, you might want the board a little bit stiffer, so that would be good. But I didn't feel a big difference between 15 and 18 PSI. So it's your choice, I think, how far you want to really inflate it. Get it to 15 PSI. If you're a heavy rider, want to do yoga, go to 18 PSI. Otherwise, just maybe stop at 15 or 16 and it'll be fine. Okay, so now we can disconnect the pump, and that's just a quarter turn like that. And because I have the white button pressed upwards, it's not leaking air. Put the safety plug on here, give that a quarter turn, we're good to go. All right. Okay, so we got the fin here, is in the box, and pull the fin out. I don't think you'll really need any of these little extras that come with it. You just need to take the plastic tab, clear plastic hanger off, throw it in the bag. It's just for display purposes. And pull the elastic off. You probably want to undo it. Okay, so now when you put this fin into the board, you need to put the metal part in first, and then slide it forward, and then push the bottom of the fin into the box. I'll show you. So to put the fin in, make sure the metal part is at the front, and you drop it down into the center there, and then just slide it about halfway up, and then just push the fin down. It should snap down in position, and anything that pushes on it like that won't knock the fin off or anything like that. You're all set. To remove the fin, do the opposite. Just basically pull the fin forward like that. Sometimes it's a little bit easier if you want. Put a towel so you don't cut your hand, and then slide the fin back and take out the fin like that. Excellent design fin box for stand-up paddleboarding, and traveling. Put that back in. Now I want to show you how to put the paddle together. It's relatively simple, but there is one little trick to it. It comes in 3 pieces out of the box. You find the blade, the handle, and the middle of the shaft. There are 2 ends of the middle shaft. One has a wide clasp and one has a narrow clasp. The narrow clasp goes down and onto the blade. So undo the clasp, drop it on, make sure it's nicely firm on there, and then just tighten the clasp up like that. If it comes from the factory a little bit too tight or a little bit too loose, it's possible to adjust that with the screwdriver, but it seems to be good right out of the factory. And the next step is the easy part, which is to put the handle into the top. Turn it so that the blade faces away from you when you're paddling and the handle feels comfortable. And you'll want to play with different heights. And then just close the clasp and you're all set. When you want to disassemble it for putting it away and traveling, just do the opposite. You may want to just take the blade off and collapse the handle down, and you have 2 pieces to go in the bag fairly comfortably. You don't really need to disassemble it into 3 pieces if you don't want to. To inflate or deflate the stand-up paddleboard, you need to remove the safety plug here, and then you'll see a white plug that is currently sitting up that's holding air in. If I push that down, it will allow the air to flow out of the paddleboard. So to deflate the paddleboard, I am going to press that button down and let the button come back up, and that'll stop the board from deflating. If you want to store the board for a short period of time, a week or something like that, you might want to just drop the stand-up paddleboard down to a smaller pressure like 8 or 10 psi, and that won't put any stress on the stand-up paddleboard, and it's actually better than rolling the board up. But I'm going to deflate it completely right now. So we're going to roll the paddleboard up here. First I want to take the fin out. Okay, and the button is open at the front, so now we can basically roll the paddleboard up towards the dump valve. Put the strap on it, and away we go. A few tips for stand-up paddleboarding. You might want to plan your trip using Google Earth and making the assumption that you can do about 5 kilometers an hour. Some people can do about 7 kilometers an hour. Some people are more comfortable doing 3 kilometers an hour, but you'll quickly estimate how fast you can go after a couple of trips, and then plan accordingly for an hour or 2 hours, however long you want to paddle. Another thing is make sure you take lots of water and proper safety equipment, a leash, a life jacket, a whistle, heaving line if necessary by your jurisdiction. So I'd just like to wrap things up by saying welcome to your new stand-up paddleboard from Slingshot. Get out there, enjoy it, have some fun with some friends, get some great exercise.